Hey everybody, I'm CC Trubiak and welcome to CC's Vinyl Closet. Tie our love in a double knot. Woo! Okay, so today we're on episode 9 of CC's Vinyl Closet, chapter 9 of the Honky Tonk Angel Bible. We have a lot to cover today. Today I'm going to be focusing on the 15 albums that Dolly Parton recorded between 1976 and 1985. A lot of really fun stuff in this episode. Let's just get right into it. This is a really fun part of Dolly Parton's career because she had already proven that she was really successful at traditional country music. Now it was time for her to pursue the dream of becoming a superstar, which is something she's always been candid about. She had dreams, she said, from the time she was young, that she wanted to be seen as a superstar of the world. So for her, that meant going beyond just the confines of country music. She was ready to set her sights on reaching other markets such as television, movies, and go Hollywood. Dolly goes Hollywood. By the mid to late 1970s, artists like John Denver and Olivia Newton-John had already achieved commercial success in both the country and pop genres. But Dolly Parton was one of the first bona fide country and western artists to venture purposefully into crossover music. This was likely due to the resistance from country Puritans who at the time did not favor their artists searching for greener pastures. But Dolly did it, scoring pop hits, starring in movies, hosting a slew of TV shows, even opening her own Smoky Mountains theme park. Dolly was not afraid to go for her dreams, in spite of any naysayers. In fact, she knew how to use all of her gifts to her advantage. Dolly really was a trailblazer. As Dolly always asserted, I'm not leaving country music, I'm taking it with me. The 15 albums from this period of Dolly's recording career represent a sort of new and improved Dolly Parton. Yes, her material still covered topics related to childhood memories, and they still maintain that trademark Dolly Parton sentimentality. But here there's no doubt that she was ready to expand her success in the music business, and this would call on her to work with musicians, songwriters, producers outside of the country music field. Previously, I highlighted Bob Ferguson as a record producer of many of Dolly's early records, but please allow me to touch upon these 3 additional record producers that Dolly worked with in this phase of her crossover pop years. First up, David Foster is a Canadian record producer, composer, arranger, pianist, and he's one of the most successful and influential pop music producers of all time. He even produced Whitney Houston's "And I will always love you." Who doesn't remember that song? He also played synthesizer and keyboards on Dolly's crossover albums. Here You Come Again from 1977, Heartbreaker in 1978, Great Balls of Fire from 1979, and also he co-produced the Once Upon a Christmas album with Kenny Rogers from 1984. So David Foster has quite a stamp on Dolly's country pop music. And I gotta give him kudos, and I honestly gotta say too, it's really nice to see a Canadian in the mix here, being a part of country music, even if that is the country pop music. There's a really fun song that comes off of Dolly Parton's Heartbreaker album. I want to play a little blip of it here for you. Okay, moving along. Gregg Perry is a music producer, composer for film, songwriter, arranger, studio musician, and mixer. Mr. Gregg Perry produced 5 of Dolly's albums during these years. New Harvest, First Gathering, Great Balls of Fire, Working 9 to 5, and Odd Jobs, Burlap and Satin, and The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. Not to just gloss over Gregg Perry, these albums here are really fun. I've really enjoyed listening to this section of Dolly's work. Even though she went pop, there's still such strong elements of Dolly in her music. Her music always incorporates some sort of storytelling, as you can see by some of the titles of these songs. The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, I do remember from her autobiography. I'll be touching on this film and soundtrack later on, but the story behind that I'm really remembering was not necessarily the greatest experience for Dolly or that entire filming. But Gregg Perry, I do believe, might have kind of disappeared for a while after that. At least, Gregg Perry, thank you for the albums that you did produce of Dolly. They're beautiful, they're fun. I like putting them and spinning them. Moving on! Garry Klein is an American songwriter, Grammy-nominated record producer who's worked with artists like Mac Davis, Johnny Cash, Barbra Streisand, Glenn Campbell. Garry Klein also produced 3 of Dolly's crossover albums. Here You Come Again, dun, 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 Heartbreaker, and Dolly, Dolly, Dolly! Hey, I really want to highlight a song called Packin' It Up on this album. This is a far cry from Dolly of Mule Skinner Blues, Dolly of even Jolene. So take a listen to Packin' It Up. I mean, whoa. Garry Klein definitely put a country pop mark on Dolly's albums. Would love to hear what people out there think of these particular albums. Certainly there's some familiar tunes on them that were hits, but listen to Packin' It Up. Okay, so wasn't that just kind of infectious? Moving on. I can't do this section without highlighting the 3 motion pictures that Dolly Parton was a part of, because she got to leave her mark on celluloid with these films. Lucky for her, they were all successful in their own right, so let's touch upon Dolly's movies. First up, 9 to 5. Dun, 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 dun. So 9 to 5 came out in 1980, and Dolly was able to flex her acting chops alongside the phenomenal talents of Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin. I love this movie. This film and the accompanying music that Dolly contributed launched her permanently into mainstream popular culture. Oh my God, did it ever. She was very lucky to have that be her first film, and it's still relevant today. It's classic. There's so many quotable lines in that movie, and maybe I'll even pop up my favorite one.
I'm as nice as I know how to be to every single person down at that office. Everybody treats me like a bastard at a family reunion.
It's a great go-to movie for me, and Dolly Parton, the album 9 to 5 and Odd Jobs, is a great accompanying album for it. Lots of really great songs on it. I absolutely love Jane Fonda, Lily Tomlin, and Dolly Parton as a trio of women. It's not the first or the last time that Dolly will have success with other ladies collaborating with her. Next up, a film that maybe wasn't as successful commercially, The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. It came out in 1982, and it paired Dolly up with American actor, director, film producer, and babe, Burl Reynolds. On this film, Dolly did a reworked version of I Will Always Love You that crossed over onto the pop charts as well. I am kind of disappointed in my vinyl record, I will say. I had to chase down 2 of these, and both versions of it, the sneaking around with you, going around or 2, doing what lovers do. But for whatever reason, I can't get a vinyl record where that song, Sneaking Around, doesn't skip. So I'll be darned, I can't include that on my Gospel of the Honky Tonk Angel playlist because I can't find a version of it that doesn't skip. I like the movie. It's fun and it's colorful, and oh my God, if anyone can't guess what my favorite scene of all time in that movie is. Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. Thank you very much, Dolly, for this movie, and Burt Reynolds. I love you. I love you, Burt Reynolds. The final film is Rhinestone. This film came out in 1984, and it paired Dolly up with Sylvester Stallone. I mean, who would have thought? This time, the results came in a mixed bag for sure, but Dolly composed a lot of the material. She regards it as some of the best work she's done. The film was really largely considered a critical and a commercial flop, and I really get it. I do love Sylvester Stallone. He's a classic actor. There's certainly nothing so terrible about this film that I won't watch it, because if it's Dolly, I will watch it. And the soundtrack itself, it's okay. I mean, it's got one of Dolly's favorite songs, What a Heartache, but my favorite song off the album is Butterflies that Dolly wrote. And it's a really cute song. Again, it seems to skip a lot on my record player. It's a really pretty song, very Dolly-esque. That is that. That pretty much wraps up the parts about Dolly's movies and the soundtracks from this particular phase. Baby, when I met you, there was peace unknown. I set out to get you with a fine-tooth comb. I was soft inside. There was something going on. Oh, this is a really favorite part of this chapter for me because I love Kenny Rogers. May he rest in peace. I love you, Kenny. This last part of the episode is going to highlight another real bright spot of Dolly Parton's career, and that's her collaboration with her longtime friend Kenny Rogers, who was an American treasure, a singer-songwriter, an actor. When I think of Kenny, I just can't help but get this really soft, warm feeling inside, and I have several of his albums in my own collection. I should hit on some really important other things about Kenny and Dolly Parton. Many people will forever associate Dolly with Kenny Rogers, and that's for good reason. Islands in the Stream came out in 1983. This was a huge success. Dolly owes a lot to Kenny for that because he invited her to sing on this track, which I believe he tried to record solo. It's a Bee Gees written song. A lot of people might not know that. The Bee Gees wrote a lot of great tunes, but Kenny invited Dolly in, and my God, it's still a treasured song. Who doesn't know the lyrics to that? And Kenny and Dolly really became household names in a lot of ways. One of my earliest memories is hearing Islands in the Stream on the radio. Dolly and Kenny are just forever etched in a lot of people's minds, and that's for good reason. Once Upon a Christmas, too, that came out in 1984, and if you're like me, you grew up with this as a part of your nutrition, because every year I put this album on, whether I was listening to it on cassette, CD, now back to record. I'm really glad I have this album. It skips a lot. I don't know why, but I can fill in the gaps. And one of the final songs that Dolly did was You Can't Make Old Friends. What a beautiful song. I kind of tear up when I'm listening to it now. It's such a beautiful song, and I'm really glad that they recorded some stuff in their later years together. Let me also mention this. Kenny passed away in 2020, so that's not even long ago. Thank you so much, Kenny Rogers, for the music that you and Dolly Parton did. I can't not watch those videos that you did and not totally see that you guys loved each other and had a friendship that really bonded you. Not to mention talent and charisma in heaps and bounds. I really love the music that I have here to treasure of yours forever and ever. Ooh, okay, and while I'm thinking about it, Sweet Music Man is a song that Kenny Rogers wrote himself and is featured on Dolly Parton's Here You Come Again album. And it's worth highlighting that because I'm not actually sure how many songs Kenny Rogers has written in his career. I feel like, and don't quote me on this, but is this maybe one of the only songs that he has written? I don't know for sure, but if so, what a beautiful song that is. Dolly Parton does a really beautiful version of it on her album. And Kenny Rogers, I frickin' love Sweet Music Man. You are the sweet music man. Nobody sings a love song quite like you do. Oh, and nobody else can make me sing along. Nobody else can make me feel things are right when they're wrong with the song. Nobody sings a love song quite like you, Kenny. I hope essentially that I've covered my tracks in highlighting all the funnest stuff between the albums of 1976 and 1985. There's a lot of fun stuff to treasure in there, so I definitely suggest you go hit up my gospel playlist to get a lot of the other fun stuff. But I can't finish up this section without highlighting a really beautiful duet that Dolly Parton did with Porter Wagoner. The album is just called Porter and Dolly. It was produced and arranged by Porter Wagoner. I know I touched on Porter and Dolly in the first chapter of hers, but I can't just gloss over this because this album, it came up in this section and I was really touched by it. I think it's some of their strongest work. Favorite song on it is a song that Dolly wrote called If You Say I Can. Let me please just pop on the chorus for you so you can again be reminded not only of the beautiful harmony between Porter and Dolly, but Dolly's songwriting, that she really has always truly been at home and at her best with country music. I love all this pop stuff. I'm glad that she went Hollywood. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. Please listen to If You Say I Can.
If you say I can, then I can find the strength to do it. And knowing you believe that much in me, tell me that I can, and you'll be great in what I do. I'm only just as strong as you make me, but I can do it if you say I can.
Now, wasn't that pretty? I love the message in that song. So this does kind of wrap up episode 9 of CC's Vinyl Closet. If you enjoyed this stuff, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share it amongst your friends and your counterparts and your allies and your tribe mates. And stay tuned for our final chapter on Dolly Parton in next week's episode, episode 10. Take care, everybody. Bye!